Turn it up, swashbucklers. You're listening to Under the Crossbones, episode number 23. My name is Phil Johnson. I'm your host for the show. And for the second time in 2016 so far, I am sick again. I've got a head cold again. Usually, I only get sick like once a year. But for some reason, I'm up to 2 this month, which means I should be home free for the rest of the year. Like, I'm going to go lick sick people for the rest of the year because I should have a killer immune system by the time I beat this second head cold. Anyway, today on the show, my interview guest is Ron Allen, also known as Thagarr from piratesahoy.net, and he's my first video game guest that I've had on the show, which I've been trying to get some video game people on for a while because there are a lot of interesting and cool pirate video games out there throughout video game history. I'm not a big gamer guy myself, but I did grow up playing Sid Meier's Pirates game back in my old Commodore 64, and then I kind of lost track after that. But there's a lot of interesting stuff out there, and at piratesahoy.net, not only they got a forum and it's a site and there's lots of cool pirate history stuff and they do all that kind of stuff, so you don't have to be a gaming person to go there by any means, but their main gig is 2 things. They've got a mod of the Pirates of the Caribbean video game that came out after the first movie, and we'll talk a bunch about that. And then they also have an original pirate and sailing game called Hearts of Oak that they're working on. That seems like really cool, interesting stuff. So if you're into video games at all, that's the place to go, piratesahoy.net. If you have no idea what goes on in the video game world and you don't understand it, then you are like me, and you should also listen, because you're going to learn some interesting stuff about how these guys go about modding and changing up these video games. And in fact, sounds like these guys actually saved the Pirates of the Caribbean game from obscurity. So we're going to talk a bunch about that. Excuse me. Yeah, like I said, the head not working today for some reason, and all stuffied up and all that kind of stuff. I actually took a nap right before I did this, took a nap at 9:30 in the morning. So that's where I'm at. It's a fantastic day so far. If you want to get all the show notes for this episode, you can go to underthecrossbones.com/023. That's episode 23023, and that'll give you all the show notes and all the links. There's a bunch of links for the video game stuff, as well as the other artists that we got coming on today. We got some comedy and some music for you coming up later in the show. If you like the show, and I hope you do, welcome to all the new people that came on last week when I had the interview with Ray Stevenson and with Craig Buddy. We got a bunch of new listeners, and welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here, and I wish I sounded better for you right now. But keep listening. My voice will get better. If you like the show, definitely go leave us a review on iTunes. That's super helpful. You can also hit our support page at underthecrossbones.com/support, and there you can just give a donation with the PayPal box, or you can click on the Amazon banner and buy yourself a little something, and that gives me a little kickback. Or if you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, you can easily do that, and it's very cheap. And that's all on that /support page. So make sure that you check that out. I also have an ebook for you. It's Alexander Exquemelin's Pirates of Panama, or Buccaneer. I don't know. It's under. There's like 5 different names the book comes out under, but it's a seminal work in pirate history that if you are a pirate fan, you should absolutely read. And you can go to the website underthecrossbones.com to get that, where it says free ebook. Or if you're on your phone, or you're out jogging, or you're driving. Well, maybe not if you're driving right now. You probably shouldn't do this part. But when you stop driving, do this part. Just text the word pirate, space, your email address, to the number 94253, and that will automatically kick you back a link to download that free Pirates of Panama ebook. And it's very cool, and you definitely should check it out. Shows, I got a few shows coming up this weekend. Friday night, January the 16th, I'll be at the Washington Inn Hotel in Oakland, California, for an interesting experimental show with 5 comedians doing each 5 minutes of comedy, and then one of them gets eliminated by your vote in the audience. And then we go through further rounds until there's just one comic left standing. And if I feel better, it might be me. We'll find out. And then Saturday night, January the 16th, I will be at the Arena Theater in Point Arena, Point Arena, California. And I'll be headlining that show. It's going to be really fun with Shanti Sharon, Brian Hicks, and Ash Fisher. blast. If you're anywhere near Point Arena, California, make sure that you come out for that, because I'm even thinking about premiering a new song that night, if I can manage to learn the whole thing by the end of the week. So we'll find out. All right, let's dig into our interview. This is my interview with Ron Allen, a.k.a. Thagarr, from PiratesAhoy.net. Enjoy. I'm excited because you're the first video game guy I've had on the show here, and I'm new to your site, PiratesAhoy.net, and I don't completely understand the whole thing yet. So tell us what it's all about.
Well, to be honest with you, I've been there, almost 13 years now, and I don't understand it all myself either. There's a lot to it, but I've been a geek all my life, so video games are just natural for me. I grew up around electronics. My dad was a ham radio operator, so if it had to do with electronics, I got used to it real quick. And
okay.
So he used to work for Magnavox, and they released one of the first video game consoles. So he brought that home, and I think I was probably 6 or 7 years old at the time, and that for the next 6 months, everybody in our family was playing video games. So that was my introduction, but.
Nice. And that was so I mean the Magnavox machine, I'm not sure I remember that one. I had an Atari 2600, and I pretty much quit playing video games when I sold that. So I'm way out of the loop. But what was the Magnavox one?
I can't remember the name of the first one. I remember the name of the second one. You had to ask me that one, didn't you? I know it had Pong on it.
Of course.
But I can't remember the name of it now.
Okay, that's all right. So like I said, I've been out of the video game loop for a long time. When Pac-Man was my jam, and
absolutely.
So what's the project? I mean, I know you're working on a couple of projects on your website with your collection of coders there. What kind of stuff are you working on? Well,
the first project, the one basically that set up the community was right now it's called New Horizons.
Okay.
It's a mod for a game called Pirates of the Caribbean that came out in 2003, and it was released to coincide with Disney's release of Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie, in 2003.
Okay, now explain to me what a mod is. So when you take a game, what are you doing to it?
Okay, well, what we do with New Horizons is we take what we like about the game and we leave that stuff alone, but we change things that we don't like about the game. We add, like in the case of New Horizons, we've added a bunch of ships, a whole bunch of ships, a bunch of characters, a lot of new dialogue, a lot of new quests, all kinds of things. We fixed problems that exist in the game, some game bugs. So that's basically what we do. And,
okay, now I'm curious about how because I assume Disney has some stake in that game since it's their property.
Absolutely.
What is Disney's view on something like that, on modding their game?
Well, I think as long as we're not trying to make money off that, I don't think they have a problem with it. I think I think it falls under the fair use.
Okay.
I think it falls under that purview. It's as long as you're not making money off of it, I don't think they have a problem with it. It also gives them free publicity, So,
sure. That's interesting.
Without us, that game would have died a long time ago. They didn't have a very good marketing strategy at all. And there are people today that come across the forums. I have never heard of this game. Why have I never heard of this game? And yet, this was released along with a multi-million-dollar movie franchise.
Right.
People have still never heard of it.
That's bizarre. Now, why did you pick that? Okay, well, so this goes back to another question. So, it's two parts. Why that game, and then the extension of that is why pirates? What brought you into the pirate scene? All
right. Well, that's a whole other question. I'll start with the first one there first. The reason we chose Pirates of the Caribbean goes back a few years back. I think it was 2000. I think when Aquila released a game in Russia called. In Russia, it was called Corsairs, and it was released in 1999. Well, they partnered up with Bethesda and released that game in the Western market as Sea Dogs in 2000.
Okay.
And I ran across a torrent of the Russian version of Sea Dogs in 1999, and I just absolutely fell in love with that game.
Huh.
And yeah, it was the first of its kind. It was the first 3D game to put you on the deck of a ship and let you take command of that ship. And it was, I mean, you could sail it, raise the sails, you could board other ships. It was really a first of its kind immersive RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And when they released it in the Western market, there was a group of modders that had created their own community called the League of Independent Buccaneers.
Okay.
And I found out about them on the original Sea Dogs forum after the release of the game in the West. Bethesda set up a Sea Dogs forum.
Okay.
And I met a lot of guys on there, and I didn't really do much posting because I was still really new to the modding scene. I mean, I'd done a little bit of modding, editing text files for older games and that kind of thing, but these guys were talking about editing DLL files and hex editing code, and at that point, that was just way beyond me.
The deep down stuff, yeah.
Right. So I got on there and talked about stuff I was doing in the game, and enjoyed talking to some of the people, what they were doing, see what they were doing in the game. We had those discussions on the Sea Dogs forum for, I think it was a little bit over a year. And now I met a lot of good people that eventually came to Pirates Ahoy. But one day I ran across a post about Aquila's work on Sea Dogs 2, and we knew it had been coming for a while.
Uh-huh.
And this post said that Bethesda had got into contract talks with Disney, and Sea Dogs 2 was now going to be Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, okay.
And so we were all expecting Sea Dogs 2, and we were all fired up for that. And then here comes Disney with Pirates of the Caribbean, and we had, of course, we knew what Pirates of the Caribbean was from the Disney ride.
Sure.
That's what we all expected, but we had no idea what to expect from the movie.
Uh-huh.
And so one of the guys, whose name is Keith, he's from Australia, and he got together with a couple other people, and they set up. They had discussions about setting up a forum dedicated to Pirates of the Caribbean when it came out.
Oh, okay.
And that Bethesda or Disney, either one, had no plans on setting up a forum dedicated for that next game. So Keith just kind of stepped in and filled in that void. And once the game was released, it kind of took off on its own, and just momentum started building. And
had it become Sea Dogs 2 instead of Pirates of the Caribbean, do you think it would have been a different game?
I think it would have been a completely different game. There was a whole lot of changes. The number one thing, and I don't know if you ever played Pirates of the Caribbean, but
no.
It's got a console interface. It's got, it was originally designed for the PC. Sea Dogs 2 was originally designed for the PC, but when Disney took over, they had Aquila redesign the interface, so it was an Xbox interface.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So now you've got an Xbox interface on top of a PC game. And the interface wasn't bad if you're playing on an Xbox. But if you're playing on a PC, it makes no sense.
Oh, okay.
Because you're using the keyboard and the mouse on the PC,
Sure.
With the console, you've got a controller, and that's all you use to It's a lot more, I won't say simple. It's simplified because you've only got one. You don't have a whole 102 keys on the keyboard to work with. And
sure.
You've only got a limited number of ways to do certain things. That's one of the things that you can't translate between PC gaming and console gaming. You know, there's been a huge argument the past decade or so over which is better, PC gaming or console gaming. There are just certain things you can't do on a console that you can do on a PC because you've got a keyboard in front of you.
Of course,
it's just a different experience.
Right. And the last pirate game that I was heavily into was Sid Meier's Pirates, and it was the original version.
I played that myself. That was an awesome game. I had many fun hours raiding the Spanish Main on that game. That was incredible.
For some reason, my strongest memory of that game is when you were sailing into the wind, and it would just take eons to get anywhere. And you're just staring at this little ship on the screen.
Yep.
So that's interesting. So they put out this Pirates of the Caribbean game, and you and your friends saw the flaws in it. And then what did you do to go in and improve it and turn it into your own thing? Well,
actually, my friends did most of the work. I was basically just sitting back in the background cheering them on and say, "Oh yeah, I can do that. That'd be a great idea. I don't know how to do that, but you guys do. You do it.
Right.
That's awesome. You do it, and I'll tell you if you did it right."
Supervising. That's what we call it. Yeah. So what kind of things did you improve in the game? What needed to be done to make it better?
Well, the very first thing, I believe, was done by Draxon, and he was one of the original modders from the very, very beginning. And I think the very first mod that we did was to, at the end of the game, once you captured the Black Pearl or destroyed the Black, I think you captured the Black Pearl. Once that final battle happened, the game ended. Well, the very first thing that they did was make it so the game didn't end there.
Oh.
And you could go on and keep playing the game. You could go back, sail to different ports you'd already been to, and just keep playing the game like the ending had never happened. So that was one of the first things that they did. And then they added, I think, the save games. They added more save slots was the next thing. And then it just started building there. From there, then they started adding, I think they added another character and a couple more characters, and then changed some dialogue, and then ships, and then a couple of weapons started appearing, and then it just exploded. And all kinds of storylines started appearing, and
that's it. It sounds like you got to the sequel well before Disney did.
Yeah, we did.
That's absolutely cool. So from there, when did your site start? When did Pirates Ahoy start?
Okay, Pirates Ahoy was founded in June of 2003.
Okay.
And that was, I think the game and the movie released in July of 2003, I think, or maybe. So I don't remember the exact release date, but it was pretty close to about the same time.
Okay.
And then the first, my personal opinion, I love the first movie. It was very well done, and it was kind of corny, and and I think that a lot of people had that same reaction, and it was great modding that first year or so. It was we had a lot of fun with some of the stuff. I can't remember now when the second movie came out, whether it was 2 years later.
Something around that time, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember for sure. But anyway, that movie, I saw that movie, and I haven't watched the Pirates of the Caribbean movie since. I was very disappointed in that second movie.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't see the fourth one then.
I saw bits of the fourth one, and it just kind of shook my head, and saw the trailer, and oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So you start the site around that same time as the movie, and you're modding the Pirates of the Caribbean game and turning it into. I'm sorry, what's your version called? I can't remember now.
Okay, originally it was just called the build mod, and we just kept adding things to it, and occasionally we changed the version number. This is version 1.2 or 3.7, and eventually I think it was around version 10 or 11, I think. Well, why don't we just call it New Horizons?
Okay.
Give it an actual name. I think they had a discussion. There were several different names that came up, and New Horizons was the one that stuck. And
sort of like it's just trying to pick a band name. It's impossible. Yeah.
Right. You get several different options. Somebody gets annoyed if hey, you didn't choose my name. Why didn't you choose my name? My name's good. But we had the majority of people thought New Horizons worked. And New Horizons was also one of the reasons it worked so well. It was also the name of a pirate game. It was from. I wish I'd have looked this up because I can't remember now whether it was on the Commodore 64 or one of the very early consoles. It might have been one of the early Nintendo games. I don't remember for sure.
I would guess an early console because I had a Commodore 64 and I would have found that game if it were there.
yeah, me too. That's what I'm thinking. It's probably an early Nintendo.
Okay,
but I'm not positive on that. Maybe I'm not as much of a gamer guy as you think I am.
That's all right. So you're okay. So you got the site. You're modding the Pirates of the Caribbean game, and at what you have an original project on the site now as well. Tell me about that.
Yes. Now we have an original project, and it's called Hearts of Oak: Conquest of the Seas, and we are very excited about, especially what's happened in the past year. Well, you've been on our site. We've released a demo that actually lets you shoot, and we had been waiting for that for 2 years. We actually being able to fire cannons at other ships, and we're at that point now. So we're ecstatic about that because that's one of the biggest parts of the game, of course.
Sure.
But we've got a long way to go, and it's a lot. We got to build a whole Caribbean first, and populate it with all kinds of neat things and all the animals and it's all the islands. It's going to take quite a while to get where we want to be.
Right. I have lots of questions about this.
Sure.
What's the storyline of the game that you're working with?
Right now, we don't have one.
Okay. So you just locations and guns. Let's go.
We have an idea of how we want it to be. Basically, we want it to be a free-player world where you can just decide what you want to do and go with it. And we there are a lot of people on the forums that want to play as a naval officer in whatever country, Spain or Portugal or France or England, and Dutch is another one. Those are the ones that are pretty much set in stone.
Okay.
But the factions that we want in the game, but hopefully we can add more as it goes along. But there are also people that want to play as just a trader. Build your own trade empire, like the Dutch New India Company.
Okay.
And there are, of course, people who want to play as pirates.
Sure.
And we want to create a game that will let you do what you want to do. If you want to play as a pirate, great. You'll be able to play as a pirate. If you want to play as a smuggler, if you want to play as a naval officer, a captain, if you want to play as a governor. Now we don't know if we'll be able to get all this in the game, but that's what we want. We want to be able to make it as free and as playable by anybody as it possibly can be.
That's really interesting, and I think by putting it out as sort of a blank canvas like that, the storylines and things like that will be really suggested by the players, and that's then something that could be iterated into the next version, right?
That's what we're looking for. See, that comes back to the philosophy that we have on the forum. What we've had the entire time is, if you don't like the game, you help us fix it. You help us make make this game what you want it to be.
Uh-huh.
And we've had thousands of people do that. We've had, literally thousands of people help us mod the game to the point where help us mod Pirates of the Caribbean to the point where it is now.
Uh-huh.
And we over the years we had people say, well, why don't you guys create your own game? And well, for one, we don't have any money.
Yeah.
We're just a bunch of volunteers spread across the world. We don't have an office we can just sit in and
sure.
bang it out. It's taken a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money, and a lot of talent that we don't have.
Uh-huh.
We'd love to, but we just can't do it. And after several years of getting those comments, finally a few of us started. Well, maybe we can. I mean, look at what we've done to Pirates of the Caribbean. Maybe we can do something about this. And we had several years of discussions after that as to whether we were actually able to do it.
Right.
Finally we just, okay, that's it. We're going to try. Obviously the big game companies are not going to give us the game we want. So they keep giving us fantasy pirates, magical powers, and that's great, but that's a lot of fun, but that's not what we want.
Uh-huh. So are you shooting for a deeper level of realism than is currently out there then?
That's what we're trying for. Yes. There are a lot of fantasy elements in New Horizons,
mm-hmm.
but the way they're in there is you can avoid them if you don't want to deal with them.
Okay.
So if you come across a rumor that let's say Davy Jones is up to something that you don't like,
uh-huh.
you can just ignore that rumor, and
okay.
you'll never run across it. It'll never happen in your storyline.
Oh, interesting.
And that's the kind of thing we're trying for Hearts of Oak. We're going to try once we get to that point. We're about to the point where we should start working on our first real storyline, but hopefully soon.
It'll be interesting to see what's suggested and what comes out of it. And I imagine there'll be some surprising ideas you might get from your community, because you have a fairly large community going over there.
Oh, yeah. We absolutely do.
And there probably isn't, but is there some sort of long-term plan for the game?
Well, we've had discussions, like I said, for years. So we planned it out what we wanted. And once we have a workable, stable version that we can build off of, and I don't think we're that far from there now.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully we can get that within the next year or two, but no promises. Once we get to that point, what we would like to do is add other areas of the world as well.
Okay. Like
the Mediterranean.
Uh-huh.
There's a whole lot of history of pirates in the Mediterranean. That's
sure.
basically where civilization started. So
right.
Pirates started there too. And we'd also like to add the South China Sea would be a good setting.
Sure.
And Madagascar, one of the heaviest pirate activities from the South China Sea to Madagascar, where they just sit and prey on the West India Company ships and or East India Company ships. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're out there dredging up a bunch of those old ships right now.
Yep,
in fact,
yep,
yeah,
they sure are. They sure are. Yep.
That sounds like a really cool project, and so these are people. Everybody's volunteer, right?
Yep, all volunteers.
Is it going? Do you think the game will remain sort of an open source thing that just kind of grows and changes over the years?
That's what we're planning on. We started that way. That's the way we want to keep it. We've had discussions about funding, about whether we want to actually set up a Kickstarter campaign, and we've decided not to currently. But you never know what the future is going to hold. Things could change.
Sure.
But it's been my experience that the more that you get financially involved with something, the more headaches you have to deal with. And you got governments wanting pieces of the action. You got people thinking they're not getting the same compensation for their contributions that somebody else is getting, and it just adds to the headaches, and that's to deal with, and hopefully we don't have to deal with them. I'll fight that tooth and nail.
Well, that sounds great. So you've got the demo of the game out now. People can find that at piratesahoy.net, right?
Right.
Okay,
and,
great. So everybody go over there and get that.
That's, hopefully we'll have a new demo out soon. They're in the conference rooms now working on it, so hopefully it'll be out soon. And we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up here pretty quick. Hopefully, I can't really tell you a whole lot about it, but it's some pretty exciting stuff that will make Hearts of Oak hopefully a one-of-a-kind game that will blow the community away. That's what we want, and we're close to getting that now.
That's fantastic. That's really great. Yes. So, piratesahoy.net is where you can download that and get in the community. Yes, and even if you got coding skills, jump in and help.
Even if you don't, jump in and help. Like I said, when I first started, I had no clue what I was doing. I really still don't. I just look up news and say, go get them. Yeah, do that. That's a great idea.
I like it.
You know how to do it? Do it.
Well, somebody's got to bring the community together. That's your
Absolutely.
job. That's great, man. Well, Ron, this has been super fun. I'm really glad we got a chance to talk.
Yeah, me too, Phil.
You've been very supportive of the show on your site, and I appreciate that a lot. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want to tell the audience about?
Not that I can think of.
All right, good. Then we've got ourselves an interview here, my friend.
All right, great.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Ron, and I'll talk to you again soon.
You're welcome. All right, take care, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And there it is, friends. That was my interview with Ron Allen, a.k.a. Thagarr from piratesahoy.net. And like he was saying, you don't have to be a gamer person to go to piratesahoy.net. There's lots of cool history stuff and just tons of information, and it's a nice group of people. And they've been very supportive of Under the Crossbones, which I super appreciate. So make sure that you go to piratesahoy.net and check it out. You can also go to heartsofoak.com, and that's where they've got their video game that they're working on. And there's a bunch of other sites where you can find their stuff. I will link all that up on the show notes at underthecrossbones.com/023. We got a sponsor on the show today, and that sponsor is S.R. Staley and his book, The Pirate of Panther Bay, and the sequel to that, Tortuga Bay, and there's going to be more books. And you can get, I actually interviewed S.R. Staley. You can hear a whole interview with the author on episode number 20. And the books are about a girl named Isabella who escapes the chains of slavery on Santo Domingo and through hard work and perseverance becomes the captain of a 22-gun pirate brig. And it's a great story. You're absolutely going to love it. They're fun for all ages, and he keeps it remains historically accurate to the age of fighting sail too. So it's historical fiction, kind of that type of thing. You're going to like it. Cindy Valor, who you heard back on episode 4 of this show, she loved the book. She said, this is an adventurous tale that takes a circuitous journey that remains true to the real world of pirates and Spain's desire to reign over the New World. All right. So there are 2 books so far, Pirate of Panther Bay and Tortuga Bay, and they're both available on Amazon. The easiest way to get there is you go to underthecrossbones.com/Panther, and that will take you right to S.R. Staley's author page where you can see those 2 books as well as everything else that he has written and put out. He's the guy does lots of books, and you're going to dig them. So, underthecrossbones.com/Panther. Check that out. Also, hey, did you know there are digital pirates out there? There are pirates, and they don't steal booty. And they don't steal ships. Now they steal credit card numbers and social security numbers and things like that. And they sell them on the dark web, and it's a giant mess. And I don't want that to happen to you. I've dealt with that in the past myself, and I'm sure lots of you have. And there's an easy way where you can protect yourself against the digital pirates, and that's LifeLock. And LifeLock, they go out and they monitor all that underground stuff to make sure that your stuff doesn't end up on some list after some idiots hack Target or whatever it is, right? So you can get a 10% off deal with LifeLock if you go to underthecrossbones.com/LifeLock. Make sure to do that and protect yourself from all them digital pirates. All right, let's get into some music and some comedy. And today I've got comedy for you from my friend Keith Lowell Jensen. And Keith is a super smart dude. He is very intelligent, and the material that he does is very intelligent and edgy, and it's a lot of fun. And I picked out a story today from one of his specials that I think you're going to really dig. And you can find him at rockass.net. Yes, rockass.net. And that's Keith Lowell Jensen. After that, we're going to hear a song called Falling Forward from one of my oldest friends. His name is Yari Melcher. And Yari and I go back, probably 15, 20 years at this point. And he's a great R&B singer. You're definitely going to love him. And you can find him at yarimusic.com. Yari is spelled I-A-R-A. Nope, spelled it wrong. I-A-R-I. yarimusic.com. All right, here we go. Some comedy from Keith Lowell Jensen and music from Yari Melcher.
This is funny because I'm remembering that in San Francisco, you guys don't relate to this. Do you guys get robocalls? Oh, you do? Okay. I've had people in San Francisco tell me that they don't. Do you guys get political robocalls? Yeah, oh, good. I thought they'd just given up on you guys. Like, you're just going to be what you are, and there's nothing they can do about it. Try to enjoy robocalls. You just have to maintain a childlike sense of wonderment. Because think about it. When you were a kid, if they had told you that in the future, robots were going to be calling you on the telephone, that would have sounded way cooler than it has actually turned out to be. So we get this one robocall frequently, and we answer, and it says, Google. That's right, Google. And we get it so much that that's become a greeting in my house. I walk in and I say, Google, and my wife and baby say, that's right, Google, and we start our day together. And I started to get tired of it finally, and so I waited through the recording a little more until it gets to the options that you have. And, to be annoyed in another language, primero dos. Finally, there comes one, if you want to talk to a live operator, press this button. I push the button, and this guy comes on, and he goes, do you want to be on the front page of Google? And I was like, oh, awesome, it's the dude that made the recording. And at that time, I realized I hadn't thought of anything clever to say. Like I'm a comedian, I'm supposed to be fast on my feet. But I dialed and it's like, I'm not just going to yell at this guy. He's just working a job, And I need to be clever. So I say, Google. To which he says, yes, Google. Like, this is the most enthusiasm he's gotten all day. Like, I hear other operators gathering around him. Like, hey, Frank's got one on the line. Come on. Reel it in, buddy. Reel it in. And he starts really breaking it down for me. How they're going to get me on the front page of Google. And it's really sophisticated stuff with algorithms and all this other jazz. Really sophisticated considering I've presented myself at this point as a rather unintelligent caveman. And the thing that's funny about these guys is that they expect you to stop them. They expect you to hang up. And so they try to talk really fast. And if you just let them go, they will stumble right into their personal life. It's awesome. All of a sudden he's telling me, oh, my wife thinks this job's easy because I get to sit down and work. But I'm like, you don't understand. I deal with a lot of rejection, So anyway, can we help you get on the front page of Google? He'd given me a lot to think about. I think it over, and I say, Google. To which he says, yeah, Google. And then I remembered something that a friend who did phone work had told me, which is that they're not allowed to hang up. And I had nothing to do that night. I'm like, woohoo! And this poor dude has pulled out the employee manual and is just reading me everything in the book, trying to get through his night. And I'm just thinking about it and chatting with him. Oh, Google. Google, googly goo. Oh, Google? And then finally he says, yeah, Google. We'll get you on the front page of Google. He said, listen, we can also get you on the front page of Yahoo. And much to my surprise, I found that by this point I had developed some sort of brand loyalty. And upon hearing that Yahoo, I said, Google. And dude started playing along. And in a perfect Clint Eastwood, he said, Yahoo. and a tumbleweed rolled down a street somewhere. And it was on. I said, Google, Google, googly, googly, goo. And he said, Yahoo, Yahoo, Yahoo. And I said, Google. And he said, Yahoo. And two full-grown adult men, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of miles apart from each other, spent 3 full minutes yelling highly patented but totally nonsensical sounds at one another. And then I heard this awesomeness. All right, brother man, you have a good weekend. Click. Victory. Sometimes you win. And I was telling this story over the next couple of days to friends of mine, and I was starting to realize it was actually kind of a magical thing, that two adult men stopped and played like children. We tapped our imagination and our creativity in a really silly, simple way, and we should do more of that. That's an awesome thing to do. You should all go out and do that as soon as you can. That's a wonderful thing. And I thought, I have to share this story. I have to get it out there. So I blogged about it, and I did a YouTube video about it, and I'm talking about it right now for my CD recording. The thing I really need to do, though, is I need to get this story on the front page of Google. But they don't call me anymore.
You don't know me, but I swear you've seen me before. Like a ghost in your mind. You're terrible with names, but you never forget a face. And you smile and say you surely remember mine. If truth is meant to free our soul, well, sweet confession, here I go. I'm falling forward, I'm uncovered. Watching you for a while. You're beautiful, so beautiful. Memorize your face, and every night it's the same. I dream of your lips and how they taste. I'm like a top you spun around, and I can't tell up from down. I must be falling. Covered, I'm drowning, so desperately in love, and it feels like flying. You're my destination. I'm hoping against hope. You feel the same way too. Logging miles on the internet, trying to see your face every chance I get. Much is not enough for me, no. Too much is not enough, no. Hoping against hope, you feel the same. Falling forward, I'm uncovered, I'm trying. I'm hoping against hope. You feel the same way too. Whoa, whoa,
Ta-da! Look at that. We made it. And I want you, so make sure, I hope you enjoyed the show. I had a good time making it for you. Tired again now. I'm probably going to go take a nap and take some Dayquil and see if I can recover for the rest of my day here. But thank you for listening. Like I said, go leave those iTunes reviews. They're a big help. Tell your friends. That's an even bigger help. If you have piratey friends who want to listen to a podcast, they should listen to this podcast, right? It only makes sense. Make sure you go check out our guests today. Piratessahoy.net is where you can find Ron Allen, a.k.a. Thagarr, and all of his cohorts working on the video games. You go to rockass.net, you can find more from Keith Lowell Jensen. And if you go to yarimusic.com, you can get more from Yari. Again, that's I-A-R-I. It's the, I did it again. R-A-I-A-R-I. Yeah, I got it. I-A-R-I. yarimusic.com. And that's where you can find that. And again, you can find all the show notes for this episode on underthecrossbones.com/023. If you want to find me, go to underthecrossbones.com, click on tour dates, and that will tell you all the various places I'm playing around the country and making the joke fun thing happen from my mouth. All right, I'm going to go take a nap. I'll see you next week.